In this lecture, we are going to be setting up routing for our project and also the ability to redirect or request to a single file. Remember previously that I told you that the entry point for this application will be this file index.php that is located inside of the public directory. We are going to be using a PHP package which is called AutoRouter to actually handle our URL for this project. So let's head over to package.gist.org and try to require that project. Okay, so right here we are going to search for AutoRouter. Okay, so this is the one, a lightning fast router for PHP. I'm going to grab the composer require command and go over to my terminal and just paste it here. Okay, so we are requiring AutoRouter. Right, so it's installing right now, version 1.2.0. Okay, so let's go over to the project. Now open composer.json. We now have one entry, and then inside of the vendors we have AutoRouter. So before we can actually begin to use AutoRouter, we need to set up the htaccess file for our project so that we can actually redirect all requests to this file index.php. So inside the public directory, we want to right click and then create a new file. So this will be .htaccess. This file .htaccess will actually allow us to specify some rules and conditions that will govern how Apache will handle our project. So for us, it's going to be very simple. The first thing that we want to do is to turn on the rewrite engine for Apache. So this will enable us to actually rewrite any URL. So I'll put a comment here and say turn on rewrite engine. To do that, we just need to say rewrite engine and then on. So rewrite engine on. That's all we need to do to actually turn on the rewrite engine. So the next thing that we want to do is to actually be sure that what is being requested is not an actual file on our system. Because if we say we want to rewrite all requests, including files, then we will not be able to use our CSS files in our project. We won't be able to use our JavaScript file and even our image files. So we want to ensure that what is being requested in the URL. So let's say we'll come back to our browser again. We type in here /about. We want to be sure that this is not an actual file inside of our project. So if this is an actual file, we don't actually want to redirect it. We only want to redirect what is not an actual file. So to do that, we need to specify a condition here. So Apache is going to look for this condition. We'll say rewrite condition. This condition should be satisfied before you actually do any rewrite. So that's what we are saying now. To do that, we specify the percentage sign and then open and close curly braces and then a space exclamation -f. So inside of the curly braces, we are just going to type request underscore file name. So -f here means it is not an actual file on this system. All right, so we are going to put a comment here. If requested file is not a real file. All right, so this is a condition that must be satisfied before the rule that we want to define now can actually go into effect. So our rewrite rule will be redirect all requests. We represent that with a period to this file index.php and then give it the L option. Okay, so the L option here is just to ensure that this is the last rule that this condition will actually match. To learn more about the htaccess and the different options that we can specify here, you can actually just visit apache.org. There's a lot of information about this over that page. Okay, so we'll put a comment here and say redirect or request to index.php. One more thing that you need to take note of here is for whatever we are doing here to actually work, there's one more module that actually needs to be enabled in your httpd.conf file, which is the Apache configuration file. In order for us to know if this is enabled, we can just quickly come to our index file here, and then we are going to do a var dump. Say var dump, check if in array. What we want to check is mode_rewrite. If mode_rewrite is inside of this array, the array is going to be a call to Apache module. So we are going to say Apache get modus. So what we are doing here is say if this is found inside of here, then it is going to actually return true. So let's do a refresh on the browser. Okay, so we get true, meaning that mode_rewrite is actually enabled for this server. If it is not enabled for your server, so what you can do is actually go over to the httpd.conf file and then just enable it. So if you are using XAMPP, you can come under Apache here, click on config, and then the file will be this httpd.conf. So when you open this, do a search for mode_rewrite. Okay, so you can see mode_rewrite. So all you need to do is to remove the pound sign that will be here. Okay, so if it is not enabled, there will be the pound sign here. So all you need to do is just remove it and then it will be enabled. So if you're not using XAMPP, it is very easy to locate this. If you're on a Linux machine or a Mac, this will be located in /etc. So it will be /etc/httpd/conf. You will actually be able to locate this file there. Now ready to remove this. The next thing that we want to do now is to actually create a file route.php inside of routing folder. So the routing folder is located inside of app. Going to right click on it and then say create a new PHP file. This should be route.php. So the very first thing that we want to do here is to create an instance of the auto router class. Remember, we put in auto router here. Okay, so this is the auto router class. We want to create an instance of this class so that we will be able to use it in our project. So come again to routes.php, and then I'm just going to say router should be equal to new auto router. Next, we are actually going to create our first route. So we're going to say router and then call the map method. The first parameter that we need to pass into this method is the HTTP request method that we want to use. So in our case, this will be get, and then we need to now specify the name of the route that we want to actually visit. So this is referred to as the target. So for example, this could be /about. Okay, so next we'll just put an empty string. I'll come back to explaining this later, and then we'll give it a route name. Let's call this about us. Okay, so we have defined the method to be get, and then we specify the target to be /about, and then we just left this empty for now. We'll talk more about this later, and then we gave it a name about us. Okay, so the next step is to actually see how can we now use this to view whatever we want to view here when this route is being accessed. Okay, so there's a method that is available for us once we instantiate the auto router class and then we create a map to a specific target URL, then we can actually have access to a method match. Okay, so we're going to say match equals to router match. All right, so what am I going to do now is just do a var dump on the match. Actually, this is going to give us very less information, but let's do that first and see. Let's refresh. If we do this on the home page, we should get a false. Okay, so nothing is being displayed. Let's try to do this on /about. Okay, so actually why nothing is being displayed is because we have not actually included this file to any place in our project. So let's come here, bootstrap init, and then require routes. So we're going to say require once. So route should be in /./app/routing/routes.php. Okay, so let's try to do a refresh on index again. Right, so now we get boolean false. Let's try to do a refresh on /about. Now we get this. Okay, so we get a target, which is a string. We get the name, a string, about us, and then there are 0 parameters. Okay, so in order to be able to display something to the page, what we need to do inside of route.php is to actually check if match. Okay, so we're going to check if we get a match and then just echo about us page. Right, so I'm just trying to make it simple enough for now. So later we're going to create a route dispatcher class which will be able to use callback to specify where we want to actually route the request to. All right, so if match, echo about us page. Otherwise, we are just going to say header server. We want to check the server protocol, set it to 404.404, not found. And then we are just going to echo page not found. Okay, so let's do a refresh again. Right now we get about us because we are still doing a var dump. So let's actually remove this from here. Then do a refresh again. Okay, so we get about us page. Let's type in something here. We get page not found. Remove this, we also get page not found. We have now succeeded in creating a very basic router. So what we are going to do in a subsequent lecture is to create a route dispatcher class and then clean up things, because actually we need to be calling a callback function here to pass in whatever function is being specified in this parameter that I left blank here. So here is actually going to contain our controller and a method which we are going to be calling here to actually redirect to the correct page that the user is actually requesting. All right, so for now we're going to leave it like this.